How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube over there somewhere. All right. Well, tonight, there wasn't really a lot in the news that I wanted to talk about right now. You know, it's one of those times when the news seems like there's a lot going on, but it's a lot of making things look bigger than they really are. So, I reached out to my good buddy Dave and Jason Meister. I wanted to see if they wanted anything they wanted to talk about, and Dave actually just participated in a wild game feast for some veterans there in West Virginia. So we're going to talk to Dave in just a second, and then my good buddy Jason Meister, who you all have seen before. We're going to discuss the I wouldn't want to say dumbing down of the educational institutions, but really the subversion of those institutions. Let's talk about that a little bit more, and let's do that now. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. Alrighty. It looks like I'm sitting low in here today. This leg has been cramping me today. So I'm trying to stay away from the pain pills so much just so those don't get a hold on me. And but I may have to end up taking one here just a little bit because I got a little bit of a cramp down here in my my leg. And those of you, I have not shown anybody, well, I've shown a couple people this picture. I don't want to gross anybody out. But if you've ever wondered the extent of this injury and whether or not it's real or not, oh, it's real. And let me turn this light down on here and just show you. If you're squeamish, turn away. Let's see if you can get it in there. That is what you call scooter life right there. So I just had my staples taken out yesterday. And I typically don't, you know, people put their their pictures of their injuries and stuff on Facebook. I'm not somebody who typically does that, but I want everybody to realize that when I say I'm not feeling good or my leg is hurting, that's what's going on with my leg. It's hard to tell a lot of the times when people are doing stuff on shows in the media that what's really going on. But yeah, that's the gist of that injury. So anyway, why don't we do this? We're going to try to call Dave Robinson. And this is funny because I got over here and sat down. I undid my leg brace so I could let my leg breathe. And then I realized, again, Apple, I love your products, but why would you take the phone jack out? Why not just leave that option in there? It's not like you're going to freaking change the world with Bluetooth headsets. I don't get it. So anyway, we're going to call Dave Robinson. I'm going to have to do it the way I used to do it, where I hold the phone up here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to talk for a second about this wild game dinner that he had. And then I want to talk about something that the Philly City Council has done. Maybe I'll do that with Dave on here. Stand by. Anyway, by the time I got my leg brace off, I realized that the extension for this thing is sitting over there on my counter, and I'm not going to get up and go over there. So let's call Dave. He better answer. All right. Typical Dave. I tell him I'm going to call him, and then he disappears all of a sudden. Let's see. If he disappears, then we'll move on to the next story. We'll come back to this. Hold on. All right. Let's just move on. I know what I'm going to start talking about this. Call the other. Okay. Stand by. I got you now. Let's see.
I was trying to get you to call the other number.
All right. Hold on one second. I can take this. I got this pad underneath my rear end for this leg, and it ain't working. So let me get this out of here. You can see my completely flattened that pillow. That feels a little bit better. Okay, Dave, who's also had leg surgery not too long ago. You had surgery, right, on your ankle?
No, not on my leg. They was going to, but now they wanted to put it off for a while, I guess, until I'm an old man.
They're going to put off your surgery for a while. Yeah, see, they said if they had done that to my leg, the whole thing would have fused together. I'd have been basically crippled. So.
Oh, yeah, mine wasn't all separated like that. If I'd have walked on my heel anymore, completely snapped it off, there's a little sliver holding on. They said if I'd snapped that off, then they would have had to go in and bind it back in together. But
I'll tell you what, man, getting old, for those of you that are young millennials, I don't know if you got a lot of millennials that watch this show, but getting older, it sucks.
Yeah.
I've got this little meme that says, it's got a muscle and it says, I'm feeling great and strong, and then it's got a picture of the tendons and joints, and they're flipping him off. saying no.
But they say what youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk real quick about somebody said on Twitter the golden years ain't golden. Yeah, that's true. So let's talk real quick about the wild game dinner that you had. What was the purpose of that, and how'd it go?
Well, when every Memorial Day, we have a lot of veterans coming to town, heading on their way to the wall. And I was working with some of the guys from the VA hospital on their veteran outreach, and they do what they call a stand down, and we hand out a lot of gear to a lot of veterans, mostly homeless veterans, but then some just not so fortunate veterans.
Right.
But it's just just things like we need, like sleeping bags, coats, things like that. A lot of like toothpaste and soaps, just little things like that. And I was talking to the guy who was running the show there for that, and he says, "Well, if you have anything else you ever want to do, or we can ever help you with, just let me know." And I just kind of right there on the spot, I've always been big into hunting and things, and ask him about like a wild game dinner, just because it's it's a lot of meat that we just go right out there in the woods and get. And I'd hoped that for a lot of veterans that are around here, some with the VFW things are up there to post with me, that they might enjoy the opportunity, just kind of a mission, so to speak, that they can just head out into the woods, with that mission in mind. It's just give you a little bit of purpose,
Right.
Turns out the dinner turned out great. I just didn't have the participation on as far as getting a lot of the meat that I'd hoped to. So that was pretty much just all me.
So let me ask you this, Dave: if people wanted to do a dinner for veterans like this, how big of a deal is it to do it? I mean, because most people always say they support the troops, but they don't really want to do something simple like a dinner.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything to it. Just because of where I live, I'm able to go out and do hunting and things. So, I killed a deer, and then I stretched that deer out as far as I could. Actually, I still got a lot of it left, and we had about 20 guys down there that we fed, and they got their plates full, and they come back a few times and filled them up, and then filled up some plates and left again. I had some help. Like my mom, she's always been big with the help with the VFW and ladies auxiliaries and things, and she's come and she come and she helped a little bit. I had an uncle who I gave him some of the meat, and he cooked up some chili. But all the meat that we had was deer meat. I made like Salisbury steak out of deer, pot pies out of deer, and deer steaks.
Damn, you guys eat a lot of deer. Did you see that video of those deer jumping off that overpass?
Oh yeah, that was awful.
That meat's ruined, right? If that happens.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's been plenty get hit by a car. There's a pile of people around here, myself included, that ain't above going out there and cutting off what you can use.
But it doesn't. I mean, how much of the meat does it taint if those inner organs get spilled out if you go down there immediately?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it busts anything open in there, then it sits for very long.
Right.
Then that'll start seeping into there.
But if you saw them jumping off of there and you
cars or anything.
If you saw them jumping off of there and you went down there and just cut skinned them, you'd be able to eat them?
Some of it. I mean, just from the height, that they were going from, a lot of that meat's going to be so bruised up that you really can't do anything with.
Right. Yeah, that was something. I talked about that last night. That's the reality of when you follow stupid people. Not saying that deer was stupid, but
I've heard that.
you got to be careful with who you follow. But even great people. Listen, I remember when I was in the SEAL teams, and I was never in combat, as I always try to say, so nobody accused me of that. But during training and stuff, we would tell. I was a junior officer, so I'd be screaming go right. And I'm like waving my hand to the left, you know, I mean, that happens all the time. So you gotta be careful when you're just following somebody. But yeah, anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but the reason I asked you that earlier though, about how hard it is, it seems like a lot of people want to do things for vets, for homeless vets. They want to donate money and this, but it's not really that hard to get together and actually cook meals for people.
No, I mean, I shot the deer, and usually
you liked it
myself, but I sure did. But I took this one up to a butcher to have it processed just so I can get everything I can get off of there. You know, he cuts in there and grinds a bunch of it up in a burger, cuts up steaks, and then I can a lot of deer meat too.
Right.
So, you know, he gave me a lot of meat that was cut up like that. So everything was packaged, ready to go for me. And it cost me $80 to have him do that. And then I went out and I bought, my gosh, probably, I'd say $120 worth of other things, you know, just side fixings and things that, you know, paper plates, drinks, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one lady had, she come down, she baked some desserts, and another lady had baked some dinner rolls, and you know, that was it. And we fed, you know, 20 guys, and they were really happy, really full.
Wow.
It don't take a lot.
And it's fun. I mean, you get to hang out with these people. I tell you one thing about going down to the VA that I've seen that's pretty cool is you go down there, and once people start talking, there's some camaraderie down there. And that's the nice thing about being around people at the VA. And if you can tell a joke, you're going to get a lot of people laughing. And so, yeah, it seems like that would be also a good part of that, having a cookout like that.
Well, that's the people at the VA who brought these guys. You know, they called me because they showed up early. And I was worried, like, hey, it's going to be a few minutes. They're like, oh, it's fine. You know, they're just, you know, they're glad to be out here just to be around each other, you know, and talk. Right. And then to go out there and talk with them myself, which is kind of one of the things when you was asking me before, is like, oh, what was the name of that? It's like, well, I didn't name it because I didn't want to name it on purpose, because it's like making it just another one of those things, you know.
Right.
You know, Auber H and, you know, Joe Bag of Donuts. And I don't know, it kind of took something away from it. It was just, you know, hey, I've got this right here. I can dinner. Everybody come over and eat. Let's hang out.
Right.
And that's what it was. And then at the end of it all, my daughter handed out a bunch of Christmas stockings that she had put together, which they had a lot of, you know, toothpaste, things like that. And there's some things that Alicia had gathered up there from all her couponing and stuff, you know. So she put it all in there with toothbrushes, toothpaste, combs, soaps, and things. My daughter had to go in there and had like suckers and ring puffs and stuff, which is really weird because, you know, there's like a lot of Vietnam and stuff over there, and they're getting these little ring puffs and stuff. But
and I can guarantee you, Alicia was going above and beyond with the couponing to get to that point.
Oh, yeah. She stole an entire room from me. My man room is now a storeroom.
Oh man, that is the lowest of lows, when your man room is stolen and created to basically a storefront because your wife is a couponer.
I got my little cabin, you know, my little camper up on the mountain.
She'll take that soon.
Up there, I can hide out.
She'll take that soon. That's gone. You might as well consider that gone.
As long as I keep it really dirty.
That's true. Okay, so I want to welcome the trolls on Twitter. It appears as though we have some foul-mouthed trolls that are showing up. So come on, bring it on, because as I always say, the more trolls, the better, because it just makes it look like we have more people watching, and your input, whether you know this or not, basically allows the stats to go up. So we already see somebody we're going to have to get rid of because they're accusing us of supporting a child molester. I don't know who they're talking about there. So I don't know. Anyway, so when are you guys going to do another one? I'll try to get out there.
I was kind of happy about it, because like right after it was done, they said, hey, we're going to do this again next year. And I just thought that was great. I said, well, since everybody liked it so much,
yeah,
I might be able to get a little more participation on the outside. You're going to be you're not just going to be stuck on one wheel, so I'll get you down here and make you kill something.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of the, here, let me just say something real quick to this troll again. I'm listening to what you're saying, but he keeps saying more and more. I don't know if he wants me to insult him more. Are you one of these trolls?
He's probably talking about Roy more.
I know. I'm just letting him say that. Here's the deal. Okay. This is why these trolls are so stupid. Because they heard me on Sean Hannity, they're going to come on here, and that they didn't listen or they don't follow this show because they would have seen that I kept saying over and over again that I wasn't comfortable with what Roy Moore said. I took statement analysis when I was in the FBI, and I wasn't comfortable that he hadn't done anything. So, I didn't back. I don't live in Alabama anyway, so I don't back any of those people. But if you're gonna come out and say you didn't do something, you need to come out and say you didn't do it. As soon as you start saying, "Well, that's not in my nature," well, I can't exactly take that as a no, I didn't do it. So. And again, this troll obviously wasn't watching when I said that on Sean Hannity's radio show or when I've said it on this show about a dozen times. So anyway, I love look, these trolls, they give us attention and they feed the numbers. So whatever, bring it on. Anyway, so Dave, listen, I'm going to move on and I'm going to have Jason Meister on here in just a little bit, and to talk about, something this troll would probably know about, the dumbing down of the United States by subverting them with communist leftist ideology. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Anything else you want to tell everybody? We haven't had you on in a while.
No, they just hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and keep sharing the show.
Sheep no more.
Yeah, go buy that too.
Dave and I have all this equipment, and one day, we got enough equipment to train 10 people with the helmets and the body armor and all the fatigues and all that stuff. We need to put together a traveling boot camp or something where we go around and just train people and get people started that want to diet, where we just beat the crap out of them for a couple days. Anyway, just a thought.
We're getting too old and we're too beat up ourselves.
Well, we're not going to do it. We'll just stand around there. We'll do like the Buds instructors and Buds, although they're great athletes. But they'll take us on an 8-mile run. They'll split it up. Half of them will do 4 miles. The other half will do 4 miles. So they're fresh the whole time, and we're dying.
Except you come down for Ed Hunt next year and we do this dinner, and we'll wear that gear out in the woods.
You got it. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Feel better.
Out. Dave Robinson, the guy that you see right there, the other guy. Well, now he's got full head of hair. I got to change the picture. He's got a full head of hair and a beard, goatee, I think, or something like that. So he looks a little bit different. Let me. I don't even know if I have Jason Meister's picture on here. Oh, there it is. He didn't want me to use that picture, but I didn't have time to make him a new one, so he can style next time. Anyway, he's going to come on here in about 10 minutes. Let's talk about something real quick before we go to Jason Meister. Let's go ahead and go to the A block, and we're going to talk about what's going on in Philly. Let's do it. Okay. So evidently that I made the snowflake troll mad because I called him a commie. I didn't call you a commie. I said we're going to talk about communist stuff. And you're not anti-communist, I can tell you that right now. First off, you're a foul-mouthed, ignorant individual. There's no doubt about that. Anybody that has to go to the curse words on here, you've already lost any type of credibility at all. Secondly, when you follow a narrative, I'm just giving you a little bit of advice here, troll. When you follow a narrative that mainstream media is following, automatically you loot free speech. I'm giving you the opportunity to have speech on my show, knucklehead, because I'll cut you off. So, but here's the deal. See, this is what I'm talking about. These idiots, they don't even know the reality of free speech. They think they can say whatever they want, whenever they want, and there's no ramifications. The fact is, there is ramifications because this is my show, and it's not your show. And you can say whatever you want, but what's going to happen is I'm going to block you now, and you won't be able to say anything. Here's the deal on this show. I give anybody a chance to say whatever you want, but the fact is, if you come on and you act a fool, then I'll just get rid of you. And that's my take on it. I can do that if I want because it's my show. I'm the one that bought the equipment, and I have all this stuff out here, and I have the ability to block you if I want. That's not a violation of freedom of speech. That is the ramifications of your stupidity. That's what that is. And let's see here. There he is right there. And this is, let's see here. There you go. We'll see you later there, tough guy. Blocked. I just crushed their soul right there. I just broke their, I violated their freedom of speech because they don't realize, these people don't realize freedom of speech allows you the freedom to say whatever. The government can't stop you from saying what you want to say. But there's ramifications to certain things that you say. If you go up to somebody and you say, I hate you, I want to punch you in the face, you're free to say that. But if they turn around and punch you first, that's the ramifications of your freedom of speech. With freedoms come certain responsibility. And if you throw those responsibilities out the window and you think you can say just whatever you want, I mean, you just can't do that. It's going to come back to bite you. So I know I need it. Somebody said you need an explosive sound when you block trolls. I need to get that. I want to talk about this real quick. I brought this up. I was going through all the news before the show. Listen to this, everybody. Philadelphia City Council approves a bill to remove bulletproof glass from storefronts. Now, and that's in bad neighborhoods. So I'm trying to make sense of why they would do this. But the bill, according to Philly.com, this is off of FoxNews.com, instructs the City Department of Licenses and Inspections to, by January 1st, 2021, they got a little bit of time, promulgate regulations to provide for the use or removal of any physical barrier in stores that sell food and alcohol. Now, I'm sure that somebody has brought a complaint about this, and as I go through here, it sounds as though a lot of these storefronts have restaurants licensed because they're like delis, but they're actually functioning as fronts for movement of drugs. But I can't understand, and maybe somebody can explain it to me, why they would want to remove or pass a law. See, this is over-regulation. This is Philly. That whole area has lost their mind. I live in New York City, lost their mind. And Philly, as somebody says here on Twitter, is going to catch up with Chicago. I mean, this is over-regulation. Good law enforcement would stop this nonsense with the drug dealing if Philly would take the cuffs off the cops and let them do their job. But why on earth would you want to pass a law to make storefronts remove their bulletproof glass in a bad area? I really can't make heads or tails of that. I don't know. But that's what you get from over-regulation. Anybody got any ideas on that? Or if you live in Philly, I don't know. It says Councilwoman Cindy Bass, who originally sponsored the bill, said the stores, many which are delis, are masquerading as restaurants. Stop the press. Get rid of all the protection for these people if they're masquerading as restaurants. I mean, good Lord, sinful. That's going to destroy the whole freaking city. You know what it is? They want their tax money. And, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Bass told Fox News that the store owners who reportedly operate with restaurants licenses in more than 90% of cases, they are breaking the law in terms of operating outside the requirement of their license. I still don't understand why you would make them remove this. It doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know. Listen, I got to say this real quick. Somebody just asked on Facebook if anybody else is frozen up. Norma, I read your email, and you said, and this makes sense. I don't know if it's with me, but because my stuff's not frozen right now. But if people watch a show or they do certain things and they download certain things, after a while, when you use and this is in a lot of people's contracts, after you use a certain amount of data, it automatically slows down your data usage. So that could be what's causing this. The other thing, it might just be Facebook. I don't know. I mean, I still have not been able to figure out how and why Facebook does the things that they do. I went from, a million people reaching a million people in this show every night to somewhere between 5,000 and 60,000, but my views have doubled. So I don't know how that works exactly, but anyway, I can't figure out what this story is about. So I'm going to look a little bit more into this. But if anybody lives in Philly or knows somebody that can explain this, please direct message me on Twitter or Facebook and let me know, because I'm not getting it. I don't understand at all why they would do that. Let's see how many people we got on YouTube tonight. Not as many. Population control. That's what somebody said on Funky Blue said on YouTube. All right, let me call Jason Meister real quick. And you guys still have sound, right? Somebody said they lost sound. All kinds of stuff. And the numbers are really low tonight. I don't know why that is. Let's call Jason Meister and stand by. Here we go. Has anybody else noticed that this light makes me look like I have a reverse mohawk when I actually don't? Just saying.
Hello?
There he is, Jason Meister, ladies and gentlemen, real estate developer extraordinaire. I'm having to utilize my phone to do this because I'm not using Skype, so I've got to balance it on my microphone here. Unfortunately, Jason, I was not able to change your picture. So tonight we are going to rock your old picture for one last time. I kind of like that picture myself, but Jason is a former Trump surrogate, and he's a real estate mogul here in New York City, and a good friend of mine, and somebody who went to college as a liberal, but then actually did what most people don't do anymore. He self-analyzed and realized that what was happening was he was being indoctrinated when he was in college. So you brought this up in a tweet. What happened? What motivated you to bring this up today?
Well, Jonathan, thanks for having me on your show. I think that it's not anything new that liberalism is a hotbed in America's colleges and universities.
Yeah.
Across the nation, but I think it's gotten much worse, and it's really damaging America's future, because these are our children, and they're being indoctrinated and brainwashed. And this political correctness that we all know has become a disease,
mm-hmm.
And the corollaries of that being multiculturalism and some of the other things that they're indoctrinating these children with, has caused them to. These professors are basically trying to take control of our culture, and it's becoming very damaging.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know, I'm a millennial. I'm actually the tail end of the millennial generation. And
you're the ass. You're the ass of the millennial generation.
Exactly. And the millennial generation, my generation, is probably one of the most brainwashed generations that I've come across.
Mm-hmm.
And it's troubling to me to see so many of my peers be so brainwashed and indoctrinated. And so I thought it would be a good topic for you and I to discuss this evening. What
was it that made you realize, what was the defining moment in your life where you turned around and said, there's something going on here?
You know, I was a philosophy and legal studies double major.
Uh-huh.
And philosophy really is the root of, it gets sort of it's the underbelly of politics. And it all comes from philosophy. And I realized in my philosophy professors, they were pushing us to the left constantly. Every paper that I wrote, every book that I read, every single assignment, every homework assignment, every test, every exam was a leftist. It had a leftist agenda,
right?
And I recognized that, and it really pushed me far to the right because I didn't like the indoctrination and the brainwashing. I wanted to be someone who thought for myself, who came up with original ideas, and it forced me to go to question why they were pushing me so far to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I give them credit for that because they pushed me so far to the right that I was able to see the truth, and the truth is an important thing. And it's just unfortunate for so many of my millennial peers, to see them so indoctrinated in this past election, so anti-Trump, and locking hands with a woman who was a criminal, bribe-taking, everything that they say that they're for. She showed that she was the exact opposite of that. It's just interesting to me, the hypocrisy of the left. Saying that they were for Black Lives Matter when this particular candidate stole from Haitians, the poorest blacks on the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
The hypocrisy was unbelievable to me.
It's interesting because one of the things that you're saying there about the self-analyzation and self-realization is that most young people, they are not self-analyzing, and they are not taught to be self-aware. So when they go through school, because the social media and all these things, they are so strung out like drug addicts on dopamine because, like, for instance, I know one of the creators of Facebook is now coming out saying that this social media is destroying the social fabric of the world, basically, because people get addicted to this dopamine reception. Like when they put a picture of themselves up there, it makes them feel good about themselves. And then when people respond to it, they feel they get a dump of dopamine, and that becomes an addiction. Along with that, they're not used to being told no, and they're not used to being told the truth because the truth is harsh. And so when you add all those different things together, what you're seeing is a group of people that, by and large, they just take what is told to them as face value, and that in of itself is a very dangerous thing.
It's very dangerous. There's no question. I call it's the sheep syndrome. They just follow the herd, and the herd is being shepherded, as I said earlier, by the professors, the colleges, the universities that shape their minds.
Yeah.
They shape their minds, and at a young age, your mind can be shaped early. And it's very frightening to me. It was frightening to me when I was at college. It's more frightening now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the professors that are shaping these children's minds realize that the future is in their hands.
Right.
And they can shape the future, the culture, and the message and the ideology. And it's a very scary thing because these people graduate from college and universities, and they enter the world. They become doctors and lawyers and physicians, and they themselves become professors, and they enter the world, and they're the next generation. They're the future of our country.
Yeah.
And if we don't understand and recognize and wake up to the fact that we're paying for our kids to go to these schools and for their brains to be indoctrinated and brainwashed with an ideology, we should really wake up to the fact that that's happening, because it is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And liberalism is the liberalism that that my peers and my generation was indoctrinated with is not the same liberalism that my parents and my grandparents were indoctrinated with. Okay.
Right.
It's a very different. It's gone so far to the left.
It's more of socialist, communist ideology.
It's bordering communism,
right,
and socialism, as you said. And I think it's really important for everyone that's paying for their children's education and higher learning to understand that this is happening in all these liberal arts colleges and universities across the country. And I think it's an important message that hopefully you can get out there to the world and to the U.S. and others speak out about it, because it's a real problem.
Yeah, I'd like to have you on when I host Hannity. I'm hosting Hannity twice this month, once on the 21st and then on the 29th. And then also Andrew Wilkow on the 22nd, and and then David Webb on the 26th and 27th. So I'm like the big December fill-in guy. So, we'll have to have you on one or two of those shows to talk more about this and get that message out.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Hey, what do you think happened with Omarosa?
There's a lot of speculation out there. It's hard to say. I mean, I know I saw that she abruptly left the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
the feeling from a lot of people that I get, that I hear from, is that John Kelly has stopped all access to the president, which I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think the president should be able to have access to whoever he wants, and there's certain people that should be able to have access to the president. But now, if the president said that's the way he wants it, then that's the way he gets it. But my understanding is that John Kelly is the one that's stopping people from having access, and she had a problem with that.
I think it's hard for any of us to speculate. I think it's a prediction we can't really make because we don't have enough intelligence. But I think, like you said, I think that having access is a good thing. I don't think shutting down access is a good thing. But I think that this president's doing a great job. I think that when you look back and see what how the economy is doing,
mm-hmm.
We're at a 17-year high for consumer confidence. We're at an 11-year low for unemployment. We have a housing market that's doing very well. We have illegal immigration has been dramatically cut down. I think is about to the order of 70% down.
Wow.
I think we're on the road to getting a tax bill that's going to bring jobs back to this country. We're going to put America have a lot of investment. We're going to become competitive again. I think this president has embraced American exceptionalism as opposed to Obama, who was un-American and un-American exceptionalism and wasn't pro-business and didn't cheer on business and growth.
No.
We had sub 3% for 8 years under Obama, and I think we're going to start to see GDP and gross domestic product grow in this country above 4 or 5%. So I think that we're doing very well. I think the president, despite a Republican and Democratic Party that has been no help at all, I think that this president is doing a great job, and hopefully we can continue to make America great again.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, buddy. Listen, I'll get with you and we'll figure out what days we'll have you on. But there's a lot of people agreeing with you about this, and I think it's something we should talk further about. We've been talking about it for a while now, but definitely things are starting to change or get worse at an exponentially bad rate. It's just getting faster and faster as far as the subversion in this country. I mean, the education sector in Texas, I always rag on Texas, but that state, the government in that state is turning Democratic faster than they can stop it. And not just Democrat. They're like, weirdo, like leftist Democrats.
Yeah.
So
I'd be happy to join you, and I appreciate everything you do, and I enjoy your show.
You got it, my friend. And we love this picture. Everybody wants me to keep this picture. We might have, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Jonathan. You got it. My good buddy there. Let me see him where I got his picture down here. Jason Meister. And what a guy. Incredible guy. Get a gander of that picture. It may or may not be up. It's right here. Sorry. But right here you go. The next time. All right. Let's go to the Truth Zone. And I'm going to call it a night. I know it's a quick show. But again, my leg is determining how long I go on these shows now. So just bear with me. We'll get through this over the next couple of weeks, I hope. I got to wear this thing for the next month. And then I get a Forrest Gump type leg brace that kind of goes down the side that allows me to bend my leg even more and more. And eventually I'll be able to do that with it. And then physical therapy starts. All right. Woohoo. Meanwhile, as you can see, I've thinned out a little bit. I got to start working the guns again on a daily basis. So I may actually go down to the gym. I got cleared to work out my upper body. And by the way, if you ever have an injury like this, and you're allowed to open up your sling and stuff at night, or your splint, so that you can let it air out and kind of scratch your leg or whatever. Well, I fell asleep like that, and my leg involuntarily tried to curl. You know how when you sleep, you go, a lot of times you go into the fetal position. Well, I guess my leg just thought, hey, let's go in the fetal position. So it goes like this. It got like that far. And I sat straight up in the bed, fully sweating all over the place. That was some major pain. So, yeah, make sure that you don't fall asleep before you tighten your splint back up. All right, see, I'm full of all kinds of knowledge for people that you may or may never use. All right, let's see if there's any more trolls before I leave. I want to say goodbye to the trolls. Thank you again for the gift of upping my numbers. Let's see here. Paul says he can't stand physical therapy. Dave Robinson, something about magical shoes. You drinking again, Dave? What's going on there? Let's see what else. Oh, one other thing. So Sherry says she got her book today. She's so excited to start reading it. I love it when you guys send pictures or post pictures of the book, and you got it next to your gun or you got it next to your face or whatever. Keep doing that. I love it. I think it's great. And I'm actually going to start, for a couple of them, I've actually retweeted them, but feel free to send those and on Twitter, and I'll retweet those. On Facebook, I guess I could do that same thing. But make sure, folks, that you are telling everybody. Listen, there's almost 150, 200 people watching the show right now. If we go across all 3 platforms, you have to, if you have bought this book, tell other people. By tomorrow, tell 10 people. I mean, you can go on Twitter. You can direct message on Facebook. You can go to Messenger. Just let everybody know that if you can send a message to all the people who are your friends on Facebook or Twitter, let them know. Go get this book and keep posting that, because the more we do that, the more it's going to sell. And I'm telling you, everybody that has read it so far, all the different hosts from the different shows that have had me on there, everybody's saying the same thing. This is long overdue. People need this so they can understand how to act if they get caught up in a situation, how to predetermine where these things may happen so they can avoid them altogether or mitigate the circumstances. So also, if you get a chance, if you got it on Amazon, or if you got it on barnesandnoble.com, go there and you can fill out your opinion. What's that called? You can go and fill out a review of the book, and it's not hard to do it. You just you can go down, you scroll down once you go there, and it just asks you if you want to leave a review, and you just comment and you can write a customer review. It's almost all the way down at the bottom of the page. So far, we've gotten 13 reviews, and we've gotten 3. Let's see here. 3 1-star reviews. And I was almost talked about this yesterday, but I didn't. This is what's interesting. I wrote Amazon and told them that the people that are commenting with these 1-star reviews, they're not even talking about the book. They're talking about an interview that I did on the radio the day before yesterday. Yet Amazon said it's not out of their guidelines. So I'm not really clear on that. So on Amazon, I guess you can, if you want to go buy a toaster, you can go on there and give it a 1-star rating and say it was the worst golf club ever. And I guess that's okay with Amazon. So it doesn't make any sense when I look at these book reviews, and they're talking about incidents that have happened since the book was written, because that's what we were talking about on the interview, but they won't fix that. And so anyway, make sure that you leave whatever you think of the book. I'm not going to tell you what to write. If you write a 1-star comment and you have legitimate facts that the book is bad, nothing I can do about that. That's what you felt about it, and I welcome your opinion. Just make sure that you tell me what you would change. Maybe I can get some things changed in the next one. If you feel like it's a 5 and you feel like the world needs to know this, put that on there. Give me a review. And you can also go down here where these 1-star comments are that don't have anything to do with the book, and you can leave a comment there saying it's not helpful, and you can actually say why you thought that their comment was bad. So you can do that on there. That's on Amazon. On Barnes & Noble, you can also leave a review as well. So that's it. Listen, this is the way we get these things out, and this is the way we're going to sell this book and get it to everybody in the United States so that this truly makes a difference. Imagine if you had, 60 million people, that's half of the country, of the voting population. Imagine if you had those 60 million people all read this book, how secure something like when bullets start flying at an event like happened in Vegas, the way people are going to act, their response is going to be action, not reaction. And that's an amazing thing if we can get this book in the hands of, and this knowledge in the hands of more and more people. So also, as you see right here, gofund.me/The Experts Roadshow. Don't stop giving to the show because this show depends on your donations. And again, I apologize because I got injured. It took a little bit out of me as far as the longer shows, more intense shows, but I'm giving it all I have. So somebody says here on Twitter, I'm sorry I can't see who you are. Because of you, Jonathan, I now see soft targets when traveling. I mean, that's exactly why I wrote this book, so to empower you all. Let's go to the Truth Zone. Let's do it now. Yeah. I get fired up every time this music comes on. So here's what I'm just going to say this real quick. We had that troll that came on earlier. I had to block him. Of course, you can't assume, just like a terrorist attack, you can't assume that popping going over your head is fireworks at a concert. And you can't assume that a truck driving down the bike path somewhere is a joke, right? Or some kind of a stunt. You have to assume that these things are actual attacks. Well, you can't assume that these trolls are actually people who are really concerned with the country. They're not. The majority of the time, these aren't even real profiles. Groups like Media Matters, Salon.com, the Clintons, the Democratic Party, the Republican establishment, all these people work together, and they utilize social media and trolls to go out there and spread their narratives, but also to go after other people and try to dissuade them from telling the truth, to try and get inside of these incredible conversations and dialogue that we have on the chat sessions. They try to get in there and disrupt it. That's one thing that does bother me on Twitter, is that we allow these trolls to disrupt and people engage them. You shouldn't engage them. I did tonight to make a point. And that point being that, as Jason and I were talking about earlier, most people don't even realize when they've been subverted. And as you can see with these snowflake trolls that stink, and they're all rich, and they got a ton of their parents' money. They get all the latest equipment, iPhones, iPads, iMacs. They get it all because most of them are rich. They don't take showers. They're all grungy. They're dumb because all they do is take the word of everybody else. They never actually sit down and fully think through things. So what do they do? It's very interesting because they end up being some of the softest people that there are out there. They get offended at the drop of a hat. And when you do that, all they can do is throw curse words out there and yell. They don't use logic. You don't hear logic coming out of the majority of these people. And typically what they want to do is they want to limit your right to speak, but they insist that you don't stop anything that they want to say. And that's just not the way freedom of speech works. Freedom of speech gives you the right to say whatever you want without being held liable by the government to an extent. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, and certain types. You can't go in an airport and say I got a bomb and not expect to be tackled. You can't just say those things. But the reality is, I'm not the government, and nor are the majority of people that are watching this show. So if you say things to people that are just civilians like yourself, there very well can be ramifications to your speech. You're free to say whatever you want, but you're not free of the, I don't know, could be a beating. It could be that you get blocked. It could be that you get brought down a level, and it's shown to you how little that you know. That could be what happens. Regardless, freedom of speech is misconstrued by these people, and they think that they're free to say whatever they want without ramifications. That ain't the case. And I'm glad it's not the case. I'm Jonathan Gillum. My good old buddy Rico is over here sleeping, I think, now. We're both getting old. But we shall rise. Never let the mountain that stands between you and the doorway keep you from getting to the doorway. Crush that mountain. I'll crush this mountain. This leg is going to heal. I'm Jonathan Gillum. This is The Experts. The truth has arrived. Don't forget, if you have read the book, go to Amazon, go to barnesandnoble.com, leave a review. Let's get the word out. I challenge everybody watching this show to go and tell 10 people, minimum 10 people by tomorrow, to go buy this book. Send them the link on Amazon.com. Tell them to go order it right away, to get it to their families as quickly as possible. And let's get this country and its citizenry empowered again. Let's make America empowered again. Let's do it. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.